Okay, alright. Hello everybody, hi. My name is Samantha Summers. We are playing more Friendsim because there's just so much of it. There's just so much. So, let's see. Gonna look at all our little trolls. Let's see. Okay, so I am feeling kind of red today. I'm liking the color red. I'm gonna get this funny little guy right here. So, you crash landed on Alternia 16 long episodes ago. What fourth wall? And sometimes you feel like you've been here forever. You've had many adventures and met many Alternians? I've never heard that phrase before. Okay. Okay. Some, all, none of whom have become your friends. But for now, for some reason, you have a hunch that you're near the end of your Alternian travels. For one thing, you seem to be coming to the edge of the populated region you've been walking through all the time you've been here. For another, the intense craving that has animated you throughout your journey feels like it might be waning. It's not quite gone, but like a diner who stuffed himself to bursting, but is still seeking that last sweet morsel that will make his meal complete. You're still on the prowl for that very sweet morsel of friendship. Okay, you are beautiful. Beautiful. But you shall not tempt me, mister. I want funny guy. I want this cute little funny guy, Fozzer. That's the cutest name ever. That's so cute. Okay, Fozzer, let's... Okay. This looks dingy and horrible, and it's moving, and I love it. The night has turned foggy. You can't see far in any direction, but you seem to be surrounded on every side by bare ground, hammocked and pitted against almost like a weird abstract sculpture, and covered with greenish moss. Based on the experience you've had with Alternian flora, you imagine the moss is probably poisonous, acidic, explosive, or something of that nature. Suddenly, a shadow looms out of the darkness, making you jump, but it's only a leaning signpost. As you move closer, you can see that the sign says, "Welcome to Happy Absence Pit Park." Before you can figure out what that might be, you hear a voice muttering to itself in the fog, and a sound like dirt being shoveled. Shovel, shovel, toil and trouble, low bloods of the world unite. You move cautiously towards the voice until the figure of a troll emerges from the fog. He seems to be digging in the hard, bare ground. There is a tide in the affairs of trolls, which, taken at the flood, leads on to the workers' paradise. You clear your throat, and the troll turns swiftly. Hi. Oh. I don't like what you're brandishing right there. It's a little sketchy. Who's there? Who's there, I say? For some reason, he reminds me of John Mulaney. Not his face, nothing going on here, but his words. You announce soothingly that you're just a poor wayfaring stranger. Not a ghost or any nonsense like that. You confirm that you are not. Good. Because I don't believe in them. I'm a dialectal co-materialist. Well, if you're not a ghost, who are you? You explain that you're a humble alien who recently, well, not so recently, crashed on Alternia, and who's been looking ever since for... Here you blushingly trail off into a mumble. The troll snorts and comes close to studying you, His breath is not of the freshest. An alien, well, you are the color of cheese. But it could be makeup. You could be a high-blood in disguise come to watch poor little Fozzer Vesulus pursuing his humble profession of pit perturbing for some unknown reason of your own. Fozzer rubs at the exposed skin of your arm to see if the makeup will come off. It doesn't, but he's still suspicious. Okay, I wanted the weirdo. I got the weirdo. A real alien would know what outer space is like. Describe outer space to me. You describe attack ships on fire of the shoulder of Orion and watching sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. You express the belief that all these moments will be lost in time like tears in rain. These authentic depictions seem to satisfy Fozzer. He nods his head and seems to think. He doesn't appear to be a fast thinker. Finally, he seems to have an idea. Do the cheese entities where you come from have a strong consciousness of class struggle? You have no idea what he's talking about, but you are always good at guessing the right answer on multiple choice tests. You assure him that the people where you come from have such a strong consciousness of class struggle that they use it to jack up their cars when they get flat tires. A big smile spreads over Fozzer's face, and he pumps his fist in the air. Pleased to meet you, comrade alien. All power to the workers. I imagine that finding me performing the honest labor of the working class makes you feel right at home. You assure him that it does. Oh, so good. I don't know when he turned Southern, but... Southern? I suppose that you wish you could share in the simple proletarian joys and sorrows of the Alternian oppressed classes. You're not sure what proletarian means, but sharing, I couldn't even say it. So, but sharing in the joys and sorrows sounds like a hopeful prelude to friendship. So you say you were just thinking that you would like to share in that kind of joys and sorrows. Easily done, comrade. Here, take this soil perturbation lance. You can enter into solidarity with the Alternian working class right now. No, don't thank me. Freedom, brotherhood, and equality is my motto. Conduct your perturbations right here, if you please. He points to where he was shoveling, and you begin shoveling there too. The moss that covers the ground is tough as leather, and the Alternian soil is rocky, hard, and unforgiving. No surprise there. And before long, you're sweating profusely, but no exertion is too great for the pursuit of friendship. Fozzer watches you labor with brotherly satisfaction. Class solidarity is a wonderful thing, isn't it? From each according to his ability to each according to his need. You look like a walking cheese, but your muscular development is impressive. Haha, thank you. I couldn't do anything when I started. This is impressive, honestly. So, just to pass the time while you labor in solidarity, what do you think of our planet? What has been your impression of it on your visit from outer space? You suppose it's no worse than a lot of places, with some good points and some bad. It's by far the worst place you've ever seen or heard of. Okay, so he seems like a pretty happy guy. Maybe he's like the optimistic sort, and we should go, it's no worse than a lot of places, got good and bad, because like it does. I made a lot of friends, and they're all super great. Not to mention, like, their coffee house was pretty lit, so that's cool. this doesn't turn out bad. As a guest, it's only polite to say nice things about your host's home planet. Besides, meeting Fozzer has stoked your desire for a sweet friendship morsel, and a little praise and flattery often goes a long way to make people like you. So, with the little breath you have to spare from your digging, you tell Fozzer that you found Alternia most interesting. The fierce rush of life here induces a salutary wakefulness, and boredom is virtually unknown. Also, the social structure arising from the hemospectrum and the multi-dimensional relationship matrix is very unusual, producing a fascinating array of possible interactions among people. Looking forward to the day when you can tell your grandchildren about it. I messed up. But Fozzer doesn't look as pleased as you had hoped. So you find Alternia agrees with you. Oh yes, very much, you pant. You find it interesting and fascinating. Definitely! To you, the spectacle, those who happen to have been born with certain blood colors exploiting and oppressing those who have not, is just a picturesque detail. Well, you wouldn't go so far as you find nothing objectionable in society where the strong kill the weak at will based on nothing more than the color of the bodily fluid, where the upper classes see the lower as little more than inanimate objects, whose purpose is only to serve them, where the whole corrupt society is structured solely to breed cannon fodder of the psychotic empress's mad plan to conquer the entire galaxy, more people to oppress. That certainly wasn't what you... While the streets run with rust and orange and gold blood, you stand unconcerned and remark how interesting and fascinating Alternia is. While the fish people and their bluish lackeys strike the pap from the mouths of low blood wrigglers, you smile presently and remark how unusual Alternia is. Certainly not. But you cannot judge other cultures by one's own. Oh, you can't dodge your class responsibilities that way, you cur. You so-called intellectuals try to hide your... I mean, you got a lot of big words for someone who's claiming to not be an intellectual. Okay, no moral judgments all the time, simply crypto-imperialistic lapdogs. And you come with the happy essence pit park pretending solidarity with the oppressed. Pusha! I'm a cat's paw of the oppressed class. I'm a cheese-colored Judas Iscariot sent as a spy, traitor, bootlicker. This is a little rough. This is a little rude. No. I should have known. My first choice is always wrong. I should have known. Okay, it is, in fact, the worst place I've ever seen or heard of. But I didn't want to say that. You know, whatever. The feeling comes over you suddenly that nothing can be more important than the truth. Truth is at the foundation of all real friendship. Okay, but there are good things on Alternia too. I do like the quadrants. That's pretty cool. I like the coffee shops. Don't like the concerts. You could die horribly. Whatever. Truth sets you free. Honesty is the best policy. So you take a deep breath and say that you hope you won't give offense, but that in your opinion, Alternia is the nastiest, ugliest, cruelest, most inhospitable, and most unfair place that you've ever seen or heard of in a long life of travel and study. Even the plants are bloodthirsty. Even the soil's hard and mean. You've made many no friends here, but you've heard it It's also possible to make friends with lions, bears, killer whales, and other wild and dangerous creatures. In fact, often here on Alternia you felt that you've been locked in a cage with a bunch of such wild and dangerous creatures. It's a little rough. As you've talked, you've been watching Fozzer anxiously for signs of anger. You're surprised to see that instead he seems to be loving it. And what about our political system? You've already put your foot in it, so you go ahead and put the other one in too. To express the opinion that the violent, rigidly stratified insectile social structure created solely to generate soldiers for a mad project to conquer the entire galaxy might raise eyebrows in some quarters. Oh boy, he loves it. Okay. You admire natural selection and survival of the fittest as much as the next person, but this is overkill of a titanic scale. As you've been speaking, Fozzer's smile has grown wider and wider, and he's shown other signs of approval, such as jumping up and down, whirling around, and he pumps his fists in the air. Forward to perfect socialism. It's so good to talk with someone who hasn't been hypnotized from Wrigglehood with counter-revolutionary pap. Someone who sees conditions on Alternia for what they really are. Someone who sees the evil of the High Bloods. Someone who will march in the vanguard of the workers' revolution to face unflinchingly the onslaught of the aristocracy, perhaps, nay, probably to die in a hail of bullets, but never turn their back on the people. Let me embrace you, comrade alien. He does so. He's oily, and smells like mossy soil and poor ooze. This does not dampen your spirits. What better preamble for making a suggestion of friendship? Agreeing with people about politics never fails to bring friendship closer. But before you can bring it up, Fozzer, having first kissed you on both cheeks, continues. We mustn't allow the celebration of the People's Revolution to interfere with the honest labor that ennobles us. I'm holding you back from your ticket to the workers' paradise. Please proceed with your soil perturbation. All power to the people. Death to arbitrary homosexual discrimination. Forward, comrade. He waves his hand with a flourish and you start digging again. You wonder if it would just be just as revolutionary if you traded places with Fozzer, so he could do the digging and you could do the speechifying. But you don't wish to disturb the perfect harmony now existing between the two of you. Instead, you use your little available breath to inquire what all this soil perturbation is in aid of. Why, the coal pit, of course. Don't you see the sign? This is the Happy Absence Pit Park, Fozzer Velius, proprietor. Alternia's reactionary tradition is to just dig coal pits anywhere without a second thought. But our revolutionary future demands that we have more respect for the dead, so I've created this wonderful innovation, the Pit Park. There's a clown concert being held not far from here, so I anticipate a brisk demand shortly. Best to be ready for these things. Oh, is that the other clown guy? I like him. Having a lot of dead clowns lying around rotting on this property is unpleasant, not to mention unsanitary. Get them underground pronto is our motto here at the Happy Absence Pit Park. Okay. You're wondering privately whether this little class solidarity couldn't be extended to Purple Bloods, remembering your dear friend Carico Pirat when Fozzer seems to give a jump. No, that is not ghosts. What? Grateful for an excuse to stop digging, you turn to look in the direction Fozzer is staring. Leaning on your soil perturbation lands. You don't see anything but fog. You ask what is not ghosts. Nothing is. I'm a dialectical materialist, and if any ghosts come around here at the Happy Absence Pit Park, they should be aware that I won't believe in them, so they might as well go somewhere else. That makes sense. That's how ghosts work. You confess that you don't see anything but foggy darkness and humped pitted ground, where you now guess piles of cold Arternian exoskeletons are buried in the coal pits. but you don't see any ghosts because there's no such thing. But the past few nights, I thought I saw beams of shining light up out of the ground. Almost as if, metaphorically of course, some of the exoskeletons in the coal pit had gotten hold of some flashlights and were shining them up through the chinks in the soil. Look, there it is again. Oh. That was a thing. This time you see it. A column of light that flashes up through the fog and is gone, seeming to come out of a crack in the ground, which is briefly illuminated in blinding white light. Fascinated, you move towards the crack, which is now dark and invisible again. What are you doing? You look at Fozzer in surprise. He seems terrified. You ask tactfully whether he doesn't think you ought to see what it is. For example, it could be some infrastructure malfunction that could blow the Happy Absence Pit Park and all of its inhabitants, living and dead, sky high. You're not even sure that they have infrastructures on Alternia, but one can't be too careful. Well, maybe you're right. We are fearless revolutionary cadets after all. You hear his teeth chattering. You move to where you think the flash came from. Fozzer close behind you, peering over your shoulder. You can't help wondering where he'll be when the vanguard of his revolution is braving hails of bullets. You very much hope that his revolution, if ever comes, won't happen while you're around. Oh, it was just going. Just then, a whole series of lights flashed silently up from the ground, making columns through the fog. Fozzer jumps and howls behind you. Non-existence! You tell him there's undoubtedly a logical explanation. That you have to admit that you had a weird feeling just now when the lights appeared, like a momentary dizziness or feeling of discontinuity. But you're more curious than ever now. Murmuring comforting things to Fozzer, you start digging right around where the lights you just saw came from. Then it's weird, because you break through some sort of thin crust, as if the soil in that particular place is just a few inches thick over the brittle surface that your shovel goes right through like old pottery. You wonder whether you inadvertently dug into an old coal pit. But what bright light could be coming out of an old coal pit? And in some weird way, it doesn't feel like a coal pit. It feels like something metaphysical. Like reality itself is particularly thin right there at that spot. You've broken through the very fabric of it with your soil perturbation lance. You dig around the edges of the hole, enlarging it until it's about a foot wide. The darkness within makes the darkness of the Alternian night seem bright by comparison. It's so dark that the soil falling into it and the part of your soil perturbation lance sticking in seems to vanish completely. As if on the other side of that hole, reality itself gives out. You and Fozzer stare curiously down into this hole. Suddenly a blinding but strangely blank light bursts out of the hole into your faces, and at the same time there's a deafening sound, which seems to vibrate the very framework of reality, like a gigantic needle scratching a gigantic record. You're standing in the foggy night holding a soil perturbation lance that has been handed to you by Fozzer Velyes. He points to where he's just been digging. You begin digging in the same place. What? We just went back in time. What? I don't know what's going on. The moss that covers the ground is tough as leather, and the Alternian soil is rocky, hard, and unforgiving. No surprises there, and before long you're sweating profusely. But you feel strange, like you were just standing somewhere else, doing something else, seeing something else. The after images of a blinding light and a deafening sound seem to linger in your eyes and ears, but around you is nothing but dark fog and bare ground humped and pitted. You must have had a dizzy spell. You shake it off and begin perturbing the soil. No exertion is too great for the pursuit of friendship. After all, Fozzer watches you with satisfaction. Honest work is a wonderful thing. All hail the old regime, eh? You look like a walking cheese, but your muscular development is impressive. What do you think of our planet? What has been your impression on it since your visit? Should I still say it's the worst place I've ever seen or heard of? I think so. Feeling comes over you suddenly that nothing can be more important than the truth. The truth is the foundation of all real friendship. Truth sets you free. Honesty is the best policy. Okay, it's a horrible place, everyone's horrible. It's horrible. What? No doubt you could have anticipated that blunt honesty like this would give offense, and indeed it seemed to have done so. As you finish your remarks, Fozzer is frowning darkly. So you've come to Alternia as an uninvited guest, only to criticize and judge our civilization. No. Okay. Oh, there's no, you'd suppose your planet is so similar to Alternia, you have a firm basis on which to apply your preconceptions to us. Not at all. I guess from the very first that you were nothing but a diligent fox social pseudo intellectual spouting your ivory tower theories without the least idea of what you were talking about. Well, smarty pants alien, I suggest you take your cheese-like person and your theories home with you on your own planet. Wait, so now he's... Now he's in favor of the hemospectrum and the condes? What? Okay, maybe I should start saving. I love you. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, Okay, it's only polite to say nice things. This is literally the same thing that happened the first time we got game over. Looking forward to the day we can tell your grandchildren about it. As you're speaking, a satisfied smile spreads over Fozzer's face. Glad you recognize the nobility of our ancient society with its orderly hierarchy and naturally evolved degrees of privilege reflecting naturally evolved degrees of ability. You're pleased that your words are met with approval, but you're still a little troubled. You have an odd deja vu sensation. This whole exchange could have gone quite differently. Maybe even did go quite differently sometime in the past, or in some parallel universe? What? You inquire timidly whether the total domination of the low bloods by the higher on Alternia doesn't sometimes feel like oppression. Never! I myself am only a rust blood, so I lack the privileges of the higher bloods. But the most important thing for society is that everyone should be in their appointed place and do the things they're suited for. All the passengers, okay? You remark diplomatically that Alternia isn't a rowboat rowing towards a destination. You're wrong! Okay. I don't want to say all these words. My brain is dying now. I don't know what's happening. Did we really go to an alternate universe? A parallel, A parallel universe? This is so different than any other friendship I've ever made. Okay. You suppose the sense of being part of something larger than yourself makes up for a lot. It does. And naturally evolved systems are almost always more robust than artificially designed ones. They are. And it's true that alternative social structures does bring some semblance of order to a collection of 12 disparate, disparatral subtypes. It is. Fozzer beams at you fondly. There's nothing that warms a heart like someone who thinks you're right about everything. It's so wonderful to find someone, even someone who looks like a piece of cheese, who is so intelligent and understands society and politics so perfectly. Finally, a true friend. Okay, hold on. Now, I have got a little yellow dot on my face. Is that parallel universe me? Parallel universe me has a little dot on their face? I'm just so confused. This is so hussy though. Like, this is so hussy. Okay. 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 So, we entered a parallel universe, found a completely different Fozzer Veliez, and befriended him instead. Right? Right? I literally... What? I'm just having so much problem processing this. Like, how does that even happen? If we had been struck with a different flash of light, would we be in a different universe? Would this Fozzer be purple? Would he be fuchsia? I don't think he could be fuchsia, but I mean, he could be fuchsia. He could be fuchsia. That's not weird. No, what? That's totally normal. He could be fuchsia. He could be purple. He could be fuchsia. I'm just so confused. That would have been great though if he just completely changed. You're just like, ah, what? Even though I was like, what? Okay. Oh, this was so different than the other ones. That's so cool. And there's like no way to choose to not go into that light, so it has to happen. Oh, so cool though. I love how Hussey tells stories. He's just like, here's more things. I'm gonna roll a dice. I'm gonna flip a card. Ah. Interdimensional parallel universe travel. Boom. Alright, so thank you all for playing with me. This is Samantha Summers logging out. Bye.